Hi guys, so we're going to tie another version of the Alastair. So a little simple tube on fly here on a, this is sort of a light brass T-tube thing. This is about 12-14 mil long. Thread I'm going to be using is this Danville's 60 red. I use this because of the colour of it, but it may well snap on us while we're tying. So I'm going to start tight up behind the little flange of the tube here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of varnish in there just to secure that, because there's very little else to hold it on. We're not going to tie on the tube itself here, hence being a naked Alastair. We're going to use the gold of the tube as the body. So what we're going to do for the wing's very simple. It's a yellow bucktail, but it's this bit, this sort of weird banana-y sort of coloured bit. So if I cut a bunch out of that, what I want to do is sort of hold it about 3/4 to 2/3 the way along its length and flick out all the very short bit, because this bit of the bucktail is a little bit more pithy, a bit more prone to flare, which is in part why we're using it, because you sort of want this to skate a little bit of anything. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab these longest bits and pull them out, and then just keep putting them back in the bunch to sort of align the bunch. I don't want it stacked like in a hair stacker per se, because we want this two-tony sort of effect to it. So what I'll do is I'll swap that around then, and I'm going to stick it coming out the front of our tube here by enough that it's going to fold back and envelop the hooks a little bit here as well. So measure that up, and then what I've done, I've squeezed it between my thumb and finger, and that allows it to sort of splay around the shank. And then if I take a wrap around that and then start to tighten it up, you'll see it start to sort of splay around, and I'm trying to keep my wraps tight up behind the flange. I don't want it going too far down the body here. Then I'm going to take a blade, I'm going to set that on just behind my last turn of thread, and then I'm going to rotate the vise, and that should cut that off. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start wrapping, and as I wrap, my thread will actually go through the hair and it'll end up behind the little flange, and that will start, as I build the head up, to force this hair back into a normal wing shape. So at this point I'm going to take two small little jungle cock eyes. I'm going to peel the sort of hackly bit off the base of them, so I want these little white enameled bits to tie in on. And I'm going to have a look at my fly, and if it's perfectly even I'll just put them on the side, and if it's not perfectly evenly distributed with the hair, what I'll do is I'll put the jungle cock on the sort of sparsest bit. So as I put that jungle cock on, I'm sort of measuring them up for equal length by the portion I'm wrapping across. And as I wrap across that, you'll see it fold, because the thread is digging in behind the flange. And then I will just continue to make a head, and as I make a head, that will force the thread to move a little bit back, and it'll keep lowering the angle of the wing into the point where loose ends of my jungle cock. And keep wrapping, and then once I get to the point where my head is nearly finished, what I'll do is I will take super glue, run it down a couple of inches of my tying thread. So you can see all these wee tiny little blobs of it. You might see the light shining on them here. And then I'll just hold it all back and wrap that, and that'll create a little bleb of super glue that I can then finish the head into. Trim that off. And when super glue dries, I will put on a bit of clear varnish, and then we'll take a 1.8mm liner tube and line our tube. So to do that, what we want to do is take one that we've tied earlier over here. I take my lighter and just flare the back of it to get a little flare here, and then I can do one or two things. I can put it on like this, finish it, and then put my junction tubing on. But what I'm going to show you here is push your 1.8, push the liner onto it already, or your junction tubing, and cut that off. As I push and pull at the same time, then it slides up on easily. Then I can hold all in place, trim that off, and then flare that down, and that is our fly tight. Just going to take our final clear varnish, put it on, and that is our Alastair, naked Alastair T-tube.